Doug MPA back with another video. So, guys, you know I love covering Oregon and Portland in particular because it's also sort of crazy up there. Well, in 2020, Oregon passed a law that decriminalizes small amounts of most drugs. Now, 3 years later, they are rolling that back. And gee, I wonder why. It's because crime in a lot of Oregon cities, Portland in particular, is out of control. Homelessness is out of control. And now they have to figure out what to do about it. But 3 years in, 3 years of catastrophe. And now they're finally starting to take steps to do something about it. So we're going to cover this news story. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And if you live in Oregon, let me know what you think about this law being passed and what's your experience in your city since 2020 when they voted to decriminalize drugs. And let's go into this story here.
First on Fox tonight, the Oregon Senate has made a major decision on a controversial voter-approved measure. They passed House Bill 4002, which will roll back a key component of Measure 110, making possessing a small amount of drugs illegal in Oregon once again. Now, the bill is headed to the governor's desk tonight. It passed 21-8 in a show of bipartisan support. Lawmakers in both parties say this is the best option to address the state's growing drug and addiction crises.
Also, Portland, Oregon, is a city that emptied out the most in 2023. People are just tired of it, man. They're tired of it. And Doug MPA is from Western Washington. I grew up in Western Washington State. It used to be a beautiful place. I go back there now, to, Seattle, Kent, Tacoma, Olympia, Vancouver, and all the homelessness, all the nastiness. It makes me sad. I used to spend a lot of time in Portland growing up. I had a great time, and to see it now, and I'm gonna say it: if you guys live in Washington State, Oregon, or California, and you can move as soon as possible. Don't stay there.
House Bill 4002 will recriminalize possessing a small amount of drugs, reversing a key component of Measure 110. It also creates an unclassified misdemeanor for those found in possession of hard drugs such as meth, heroin, and fentanyl. The bill will also give law enforcement the authority to decide whether to send someone into a deflection program, which connects the drug user to treatment, or to send them to jail for up to 6 months. Lawmakers had this to say today about the passage.
I think it was really important that we set aside politics, that we set aside partisanship, and that we focused on crafting a policy that addressed many of those things that we heard Oregonians say. And I think that this policy does that. And I think that's why you heard on the floor of the Senate today that sometimes that's unusual in this building. But this is such an important problem, an important crisis that we are facing, that it was really important to set aside those partisanship.
Some people.
Gee, you think? Yeah, people on the left. Oh, everybody's victims. If they're homeless or drug addicts, we have to understand. No, we don't a lot of the time. Not when they're committing crimes. No. So the problem was so bad that the left had to set aside their politics and do something about it or risk more people going over to the right. I guarantee you that's what happened. Because law-abiding, sober citizens are getting tired of this mess. So they're getting tired of it.
People have complained that this is too complicated to do in a short session. I would say normally true, but it's also an emergency, which is another reason that short sessions exist. Because when 3 or 4 Oregonians a day are dying because of addiction, I think it's incumbent upon the legislature to try to act and stem the tide of that happening.
ACLU Oregon Executive Director Sandy Chung says this bill is a major step back in terms of treating addiction. She and other proponents of Measure 110 say a new war on drugs is not the solution.
So there's a war on the population of Oregon right now. The homelessness is out of control. The crime is out of control. There are tents lining the sidewalks in downtown Portland right now. Come on now. You're always going to have people who care less about the the tax-paying citizen and more about the people. Like I said before, oh, the poor victims. Oh no. You got to choose the right side, lady, and the people like what she's talking about are choosing the wrong side.
We had chosen as a state to move forward into the arc of history, into more justice and more care. And now Oregon lawmakers are very knowingly and intentionally moving backwards.
Okay, well, why don't you have them stay at your house, Sandy Chung? How about that? Why don't you open your doors to some drug addicts? How about that?
Away from both justice, but also from the real solutions that all Oregonians deserve.
Chung says that she understands that polls show a majority of Oregonians wanted some sort of reform to Measure 110, but she blames special interests for influencing voters' outlook on the measure.
There you go, guys. Good job, Oregon. That's a small step. That they have a long way to go. If you check the news about Portland, Eugene, Salem, all the homelessness, all the craziness, they have a long way to go, but at least that's a good first step. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.